I've spent the last over a decade trying to overcome some of these perceptions that people have. You know, perceptions that I can suck on stage, but somehow I'll still get discovered. Well, that's a long and a fruitless road to take. And what's the killer is most people, not all, but most people have all the talent they would ever need if they just knew how to use it.
Mm-hmm. So let's just go there real quick if you got the time. How do people find their talent? How did you find your talent?
Well, you know, I was a teacher in the Navy, and eventually ended up being a master training specialist. But early in my Navy career, I spent 20 years and retired from the military. Within 2 years, I was thrust into teaching, and what got me is I was riddled with stage fright and all that stuff until I started teaching, and then people started falling asleep, and it just ticked me off so bad. I got over the fear and said, man, I'm not having fun here. Well, to make a long story short, I started just using my own sense of humor and that kind of thing, not realizing that I could do the same thing on the comedy stage. Mm-hmm. I just started, doing my sense of humor. Well, it got to the point where I could teach just about anything, and I had to do a wide range of topics, you know, whether I knew anything about those topics or not. You know, I had to do the research, blah, 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 because, you know, you got these training things. And I could have a classroom full of people laughing so hard it would interrupt other classes. And you know what I'm saying? And so it was kind of one of those things that makes you think about, you know, how else can I capitalize on this? You know, and the thing about it is when I would talk with other people, you know, I wasn't trying to be funny, but it didn't matter if I was at the grocery store talking with a stranger, talking with friends or whatever, I would have this tendency to say things and they'd just crack up, and I wasn't trying to be funny or anything like that. And so, you know, all these things kind of culminated into this, okay, well, you should be able to do this stand-up comedy thing, right? And but I was awful. I couldn't figure it out. And I got all the books, I took courses, and there was nothing there. And I didn't realize it at the time. I was just, this is the way it's done. This is how you got to do it. And it took me almost quitting to make these discoveries and then expand upon these discoveries as I was rock and rolling. I mean, I'll tell you how intense this was. Based on the books that I had read and that kind of stuff, they said, you know, it takes 5 to 10 years to be good. Well, I had started my stand-up stuff about 7 years out from retirement. And so my goal at the time was to become a solid middle act in 7 years. That's where my mentality was based on these books. Well, what really happened is once I had developed my stuff and threw away all these stupid paper-written jokes and trying to do goofy stuff and you know, communicating with the audience the way I could do, I went from that mentality to within 30 months, well, it was less than 30 months that I was headlining local one-nighters, mm-hmm. you know, that are held in restaurants and that kind of stuff that comedians put together. But, I mean, 30 months to start doing the 600, 1,000-seat, 1,500-seat venues, and, man, let me tell you what, that's sweet.
Yeah.
It's sweet.